Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Unathi, it's very good to have you join us.
And a warm welcome. I mean, we are indeed broadcasting from Hare University. This is where the memorial service for the late Mike Stofile is going to be held. What I can tell you is that it is a bit behind schedule. We were scheduled to start at around 11 o'clock, but we were told that there has been another memorial service at his homestead first. They were delayed there a bit. That is mainly for the sake of his 95-year-old mother, who we believe is not going to be able to make it here at Hare University for this memorial service. But I can tell you that people are trickling inside here, and we do expect that at least by noon we will have a full quota of people inside here ready for this memorial service, ready to pay tribute to the man whom you have rightly said has dedicated his entire life to the sport of rugby, and that is no exaggeration at all. I mean, this man started out as a young boy carrying bags for his brothers, for his big brothers. I mean, he's the sixth of 7 boys, and the eldest of those is Reverend Ngqele Stofile, former Eastern Cape Premier and former sports minister. And of course, he was a keen rugby player at his time as well. And Mike Stofile started carrying bags for him before he went on to become a player himself, and later an administrator of note. And we were told that he has done very, very well as an administrator at grassroots level at Victoria East Rugby Union before being elected as the president of Border Rugby Union, where he had a very, very brief tenure, but results were forthcoming. I mean, in 2003, during his tenure, that's when Border Rugby Union, Border Bulldogs, won the Vodacom Shield, and he went on to be elected as the deputy president of South African Rugby Union. We all know what happened there. I mean, he didn't last long. His stance on transformation, we were told by people who know him from here that it may not have set well with some within the rugby union, and of course he was out here in no time at all. But his contribution to rugby in this area continued even after he left SARU. We understand that he was involved with the Blues Rugby Union, that is the Hare Rugby team that was involved in varsity rugby. So his contribution in rugby here in this area is immense, and you can tell even by the people who are inside here. I mean, it's not just young people who are involved in rugby now, it's also elderly people who played with him in the olden days, and people who came to watch him while he was still playing, and people who are still reaping rewards from the contributions he has made. I mean, in the past weekend, we did have some rugby tournament played right here at Hare, which is called the Heritage Rugby Tournament. It was his brainchild, and a lot of teams in this area are participating in that, and a lot of them do make it to provincial level, playing for teams like Border Bulldogs, and we do expect that perhaps some Springboks may come out of this tournament, which he has started, and the people of this area have vowed to continue playing.
No, very good. Unathi, thank you very much for that biography on who Mike Stofile is, because that was the very first thing I was going to be asking you about, who this particular person is, but now our viewers know who this person is. Earlier on, when you spoke to Newsroom, to Eben on Newsroom, you alluded, the allusion was that a lot of people were expected. How many people have filled up the hall so far? Who's there that we might recognize already?
Well, we do expect that administrators from Border Rugby Union will be present for this memorial service. And of course, it comes from a family with impeccable struggle credentials. I mean, this memorial service is also championed by the African National Congress, and we do expect that its provincial leadership is going to be here. We might as well see the Premier of this province, Mr. Phumulo Masualle, also gracing this event. But in terms of dignitaries, we haven't seen many, because like I said, the memorial service is still at his homestead for the sake of his 95-year-old mother. That's where all the dignitaries are. But I'm sure in no time we'll see them coming down here. But people who have worked with him, who have played with him, some as teammates, some as opposition, they are here in their rugby colours, wearing the colours of their teams, teams that still exist to this day. And there are those who have went on to get Springbok Blazers, and they are here also, the Black Springboks, to show their respect to this man who has dedicated his life to the sport of rugby. And of course, there was a board written here which says a developmental community builder, courageous voice for transformation, and a freedom fighter to the end. I mean, his involvement here in this area and his influence was not only restricted to sport. He was an ardent businessman, a person who has created a lot of job opportunities for people from villages in and around here, involved in things like farming, and of course he had a very successful supermarket here which employed a lot of people. So he was an all-rounder, but of course his forte was in sport and rugby in particular.
Unathi, I want to thank you very much for bringing us news live from this place where the memorial service of Mike Stofile is being held. Thank you very much for staying and talking to us. Right, now that was our reporter Unathi Binqose from Alice talking to us about the memorial service for Mike Stofile, who was the deputy president of the South African Rugby Union with a very strong, stoic and fiery stance on transformation.